Good morning, children. I hope all of you have enjoyed your vacation, and I wish you have a prosperous and a splendid new year ahead. Okay, so we are going straightly towards our textbook. So I think some more activities are left in the last chapter that we have already covered. Okay, and it's a grammar portion and it is adverb clauses of purpose. Okay, and before going to that, you have to know certain things that you have already learned. So, adverb means what? Adverb. So, adverb means it describes or it modifies a verb or an adjective or another adverb. That is what adverb. Clear? So it modifies or describes a verb, an adjective or another adverb. Next one is subordinate clause that we already learned. What is subordinate clause and main clause? Without main clause, subordinate clause can't stand. Okay. When we use or when we link this subordinate clause with a main clause, then only the subordinate clause will get a sense or some meaning. Okay, so adverb, then subordinate clause. Now we can move towards our textual activity. So read the sentences, note the words in color. My eldest aunt refused to relocate to a new house that she had not seen before. So in the first one, that she had not seen before. So that is the subordinate clause there. So if we are saying that she had not seen before, then there is no sense, there is no meaning. But when we use the main clause, my eldest aunt refused to relocate to a new house that she had not seen before. Now that subordinate clause. And what is the subordinate clause here? That is that she had not seen before is the subordinate clause here. So, by using the main clause, my eldest aunt refused to relocate to a new house. Now, that subordinate clause becomes a meaningful one. Clear? Then, what happened then? I was sent to receive the house in order to make sure that everything was alright. Clear, children? So, the words in color are called adverb clauses of purpose. They are subordinate clauses that functions as adverbs in a sentence. So children, here the sentence is subordinate clause. These sentences, this one, let me take that brush, okay. So this one, in the both two sentences, subordinate clauses are used there just as adverb. Clear? And they tells us about the purpose of the verb. In the first sentence, my aunt refused to relocate. So refused is the verb there. And that she had not seen before tells us the purpose of the verb. Why she refused to relocate to a new house? Why? She had not actually seen that house before. That's why she refused. So children, so these are subordinate clauses that function as adverb in a sentence. And this tells us about the purpose of the verb. Okay, clear? They are usually introduced by subordinating conjunctions such as that, so that, in order to, and lest. Okay, followed by modal verbs such as will, can, may, could or might. Clear? So, children, so these subordinate conjunctions, okay, these subordinate clause, that means these adverb clauses of purpose are usually followed by followed by modal verbs such as will, can, may, could or might, or introduced by the subordinating conjunctions just like what, that, so that, in order to, and lest. Clear? Now, subordinate clause is given here in that box. A subordinate clause cannot stand on its own. It needs a main clause to make complete sense. One example is also given there. When I grow up, I will travel all over the world. I will travel all over the world is the main clause there. Then when I grow up is the subordinate clause. Clear? Clear, children? Then some note is also given there, so you have to keep it in the mind. What lest means in case or otherwise. So meaning of lest is in case or otherwise, and we do not use not with lest. Okay, that is the important thing. You have to keep it in your mind. We will not use not with lest. Okay, the only modal verb that can be used after lest is should. Okay, we cannot use other modal verbs with lest. Okay, children. So now exercise are given there. So you have to underline the adverb clause of purpose in these sentences. I think you will do it. Then only you will know that what do you understand that adverb clauses or not. Okay, just try to do that. Fill in the blanks with suitable adverb clauses of purpose. Okay, you just try to do it. Next class we can discuss that. Okay. But don't wait for the answers. You just try to do that, and if you are confident that you know adverb of clauses very much, send the answers to me. Okay, I will make necessary corrections. Oh, when one more thing is there, children, I am just correcting your answer paper. It's on the way. Okay. Before Wednesday or Tuesday, I will send it to you. Okay, children. Now punctuation is there. Punctuation, you know, from smaller classes onwards you are learning about different punctuation marks. Full stop is there, capital letter, question mark, comma, exclamation mark, and you know that a sentence begins with a capital letter and end with a full stop, and you have to use question mark after interrogative, then a comma. A comma indicates a pause between parts of a sentence and is also used to separate items in a list. Okay, exclamation marks means it expresses a sudden strong feeling or emotions. I think deep explanation is not needed for this punctuation mark. Okay, anyway, comma indicates a pause between parts of a sentence. If you want to pause it, if you want to stop, we don't want to just stop it completely, but we just want to stop it. To add some things or just like that, we will use this comma. Okay, then exclamation mark, that you know what exclamatory sentences express a sudden or strong feeling. Okay, and it ends with what? Exclamation mark. Example is given here. Tigers belong to the cat family. Where have all the children gone? As soon as we reach the music hall, the lights went out. I have a book, a notepad, a tennis ball, and a pair of glasses in the back. Bravo, you have proved yourself. Okay. And here two passages are given here. You have to rewrite using capital letters, full stop, question mark, commas, and exclamation marks wherever necessary. So children, this you have to do it as homework, and we can discuss these two questions in the next class. Underline the adverb clauses of purpose in these sentences, and what fill in the blanks with suitable adverb of clauses of purposes. Okay, you just try to do it anyway. We can discuss in the next class. But this one you have to do it as homework, and after doing that you have to send it to me. Okay. Okay, children. Next one we are going to learn is spelling. IE or EI words. ERORAR words. Okay. So first, sorry children. Think something happened to our 8 children. Okay, please wait. Okay, first one is peace, then chief, receive and deceive. So the thumb rule of English spelling says that the sequence of the letters I and E in a word is IE, except when preceded by C. When preceding letter is C, the sequence changes to UI. This is the commonly known as the rule of I before E except C. Okay, just we can go through that. So this is the main rule. What is that? So first one you just listen. PIECE. CHIEF. Commonly, we will say that I is always followed by E. But in the third one, that is receive. RECIVE. Receive. Here, that EI is preceded by C. So, we just use EI instead of IE. Clear, children? So, commonly, we will use what commonly the sequence of letters I and E in a word is IE. But if it is preceded, that means if C is used before sequence of the letters I and E, then you have to write EI. Otherwise, you just write just like PIEC. Here, PIEC. Here, the letter C is not preceded by the sequence of letters I and E. Okay, that's why it's used just like that, IE. But in the third word, that is receive, the sequence or the letters I and E is preceded by C. That's why EI is used there. I think it's clear for you. Anyway, we can read that rule once more. The thumb rule for English spelling says that the sequence of the letters I and E in a word is IE. But one exceptional case is there. What is that? Except when preceded by C. If the sequence of letters I and E in a word is preceded by C, then the sequence changes to EI. Clear? Next one. The addition of ER and OR to the end of words often results in the formation of agent nouns that indicate a person or a thing that does something. Words that end in AR are few in number. So children, words that end in AR are few in number. Okay. So their information does not follow any specific rule. So the words that end with AR are few in number, and so their formation. So the formation of words end with AR does not follow any specific rules, but the addition of ER and OR at the end of words often, keep it in your mind, often, okay. The addition of ER and OR to the end of words often results in the formation of agent nouns. Agent noun means what, children? Agent nouns means it indicates a person or thing that do something. So if we add ER, OR at the end of a word, sometimes it often results in the formation of agent forms. Okay, just photograph. When we add ER, and who is a photographer? Photographer is the person who take photos, isn't it? So when we add ER at the end of that photograph, it just forms An agent noun, isn't it? That means a person that does something. He just take photos. Clear, children? Just write reader, calculator. Okay. So the thumb rule for English spelling says that the sequence of the letters I and E in a word is IE except when this I and E is preceded by C. If it's preceded by C, you have to use E after I. Clear? Then the addition of ER or OR at the end of a word, often these words form or these words results in the formation of agent nouns. Agent nouns means what? A person or thing that does something. Okay. And question is also given there. Okay. Just try to do that. Then next one is speaking section. Now that Macmillan app is not working, so I can't help you to do this. Next one is notice writing, that we already discussed in our grammar textbook. So a notice gives written or printed information, and a notice has the following parts: a heading, the main body or contents stating the purpose in concise, that means in brief. Okay, clear sentences, the time, date and venue in case the notice is about an event. A closing sentence, this already known for you. You already know how you have to write a notice. Okay, so one example is given here, just go through that. And at the end of this chapter, you have one question is given there. Write a notice about the following. You are the secretary of the drama club of your school. Your school is putting up Shakespeare's play The Merchant of Venice in November, which is 2 months away. However, after 3 months of rehearsals, one of your lead actors have fractured her leg and now you need a replacement. Write a notice calling for auditions for the role of Portia, one of the main characters of the play, from students of classes 8 and above. Just try to write one notice. Okay, next one is explore. The word uncanny is an adjective. That means, so the word uncanny is an adjective. It means something strange and mysterious. So one link is given there. You just go through the link, then you will get you will be able to visit websites that will give you more knowledge about uncanny phenomena. Okay, and one work is also given there. I think it's you visiting school library is not now, it's not possible. You just, if local library is available, you just go and read these books. Otherwise, I think you will get it on the internet. Okay, search it on the Google and just try to read that. Okay, children. And that adverb of clauses, that exercise related to adverb of clauses, we can discuss in the next class. But just try to do the punctuation. Okay, the activity related to punctuation and this EI and IE words, and try to write this notice. Okay, so children, today this is enough for you. Take care, and if you have any doubt, please call me, and very soon you will get your answer, your marks. Okay, sorry for the delay, children. Thank you once again. Thank you and have a nice day.